The Trump administration is determined to win what many are dubbing the new space race. Correspondent Kristen Fisher reports it's not just about putting another person on the moon, but more an effort to protect our nation's security.
We are going back to the moon.
When Vice President Mike Pence stunned the space community by announcing a new goal of putting American astronauts back on the moon in just 5 years, he singled out one country in particular for necessitating that accelerated timeline.
Last December, China became the first nation to land on the far side of the moon and revealed their ambition to seize the lunar strategic high ground and become the world's preeminent spacefaring nation.
China and the U.S. are now on a collision course to see which country can put astronauts on the moon for the first time this century and leave behind more than just flags and footprints.
We're in a space race today, just as we were in the 1960s, and the stakes are even higher.
Last year, China launched more rockets into space than any other country in the world, the first time that's ever happened. In 2007, China became the first country to destroy a satellite with a ground-based missile, and in 2013, another first. China fired off a missile aimed at satellites even farther away in geosynchronous orbit, about 22,000 miles above Earth, where U.S. communications and missile early warning satellites live.
If our satellites were attacked, we would be blind, deaf, and impotent before we even knew what hit us. Everything from ATM machines to Zumwalt destroyers would be paralyzed.
But what really has experts on the Chinese space program nervous isn't what the Chinese are doing, it's how they're doing it.
They can plan for something 5 or 10 years out, and they'll get there. We have great plans, we have smart people, but we keep changing our minds.
Representatives from 25 nations, including the U.S. and China, are meeting in Geneva to try to prevent an arms race in space. But President Trump says space has already become the place where the wars of the future will be won and lost.
My administration has recognized space as a war-fighting domain and made the creation of the Space Force a national security priority.
And China isn't the only threat in space. Russia is developing its own anti-satellite weapons. And just today, India's prime minister announced that his country had also successfully shot down one of its own satellites. John?
We're entering a new frontier, no question about it. Kristen Fisher tonight. Kristen, thanks.